Alright, and we are back. Let's see. Where are we at here? Number 7, so 2 more to go. Good. Crap. Really quickly here. Hi everyone, this is Geo
Okay,
from
good.
Productions². For some reason, Vegas, whenever I load in rest here, it shoves down the resolution down to some weird thing that the original footage is, and I guess when I put Mountain Blade in, it fixed it. So that should be fine. All right, so now that I've had some time to kind of stop my brains from leaking out of my ears, let's see if we can actually do this. Okay, so we were in the process of trying to, and failing miserably, put in some sort of new stuff for this plugin. So we're trying to go through and find all the places where I had changed stuff to do checks for the bool, which I thought I set somewhere with the tertiary that I cannot find now. Tertiary, whatever it's called, ternary or something, I forget now. Brain is better, but not quite better. So where did that go to? Or did I just wipe it out and not put it? I must have wiped it out and not put it back in. That's the only thing I can think of. Thing I can think of is why it's not even here. So what it was a. We're looking at enable goal cost, update item. So enable item. We don't have enable item even. What's going on? Enable item cost. So gold cost parse in params. Okay, this is not even, I don't know. Yeah, so my brain was like on meltdown or something. So this should be not, well, this should be, well, it shouldn't be called this, and it shouldn't be an int. So B is gold cost enabled. It's a little bit, we could probably say GLD CST enabled. Shorten it a little bit. And this should be a crap. No, that's that one. I want the other one. Yeah. So we're basically doing a comparison to true as far as what's coming into the string, and then that will spit out a bool, since it's a basically a comparator. So what we want to say is string, not parseInt, because we're not even. Technically, I guess you could make it an int, but it's just it wouldn't work that way, the way it is now. So params, so we need to do dot trim dot to lowercase. I think I have to do the dot trim to trim off the new line or something, and then to lowercase, and then equals true. So that's either going to be true or it's going to be false. And we just do the same thing down here, except instead of enable gold cost, well, we could say enable item cost. You don't even have to paste it in. I think that's what it is. Yeah. And then we just change this to is ITM cost enabled. All right. So gold cost formula. Update item. We need a formula for the item too, to be honest, because we have to say, okay, how many of these items do we need? So let's make a new parameter. So item cost formula. Description. This formula determines the cost or the number of items required to upgrade to various classes, I guess to a new class. Again, AVG. And we're just going to do something similar with the default. Who knows what it'll spit out, but this is just, you know, put something in and then we can fine tune it later. The first goal is to make everything work. And then we can go back there and say, okay, this thing's spitting out 5,000. That's too much to change from a novice to a warrior or something. So, I'm just going to take these headphones off because, of course, the problem is now where to put them while I'm not using them. It's down here will do. Because they're part of the problem. Makes this room really quiet. Alright, so we have this in now. We need to also then do a parameter thing down here for that. Store it. So it should be item cost, item ID. And this one should be then item cost formula. Alright, so those are our new parameters. Alright, so now we need to do a ternary or whatever it's called. Var B cost mode enabled. Equals so B is GLD or B is item enabled equals true. True or false. So I'll put a note here. This will control alteration of the windows of the scene window sizes so that we can display the gold and or item cost. And actually, we could put this all in one line. Alright. Now, what we need to do is we have to go back into the scene stuff and do what we were doing before, but then branch it apart. Yeah, so instead of gold cost, this is kind of where I got my brain started melting down. So like, didn't I already do something that was supposed to do for both, and then I couldn't find it, and then my brain exploded. So use that instead. Okay. We want this one. So, okay. So, create actor class window. So, I branched that off already. So, graphics width minus classless window. That minus stat wind get width would be our width for this one. Okay. And that could still work. The thing is, the height wouldn't be right. The height has to be something different. The height has to be the height that we're using up here. So I think we could safely just take this, put this here, and only then we can actually do this, which is nice. One line this these if else statements. All right. So now. Okay, requirements window. Yeah, we have to modify that as well. So instead of stat wind for the Y, it has to be act class wind. So if B cost mode enabled, else okay. Same thing with WinH. So actually this one will need to be a double liner. Ah. And of course this can't be const, has to be a var. Alright. H. And so stat wind, it's based off of actor class. And the command window, of course, also. I'm going to assume we have to do 2 lines. So this is an else. And so is this. Okay. For the other one, it's going to be these. Okay. Now let's see if these changes actually work or if there's any bugs or anything. Actually, it's going to throw us inside of the stat changer. It'll be faster that way. Start player. Okay. So we will try it with them off first. Okay, they're off by default. Yeah. I feel like we're gonna have an error because I think I forgot to change fix that class class name issue for those two get height and width for one of the classes. Oh, it's there. Okay, no problems. So that's with it off. Looks like it's working fine. Now let's turn it on. See what kind of hell we unleash here. How do we set up a... Let me check the quests. I think it's over here somewhere. Oh, it was. Oh, there it is. Drop it over there. Or even better yet, where is the new one? Default true. I'm not gonna find it there. Parameters, so yeah, parameters. So there's a type. Let's see if that works. Cool. So let's just test our ternary thing there and see if it works with just one of them selected. Let's see, any issues? No errors yet. Let's call the script first then. Alright, let's go have a look. So obviously it didn't actually process correctly. Alright, so now we're stopped. So instead of watch for Whoops, I'm gonna close it. Crap, I gotta reset those breakpoints now. So the only way to get some of this stuff is you actually have to try it on reload, so probably have to do that. Try and catch what these parameters are being spit out of. Alright, launch expression. B is gold. False. Okay, but it's not really. Because we're passing on, right? So what is this? Yeah, undefined. Alright, so we be's undefined. Enable gold cost. Enable gold cost. Maybe it's because it's not a string, but it should convert it to a string, if possible. So what are we actually getting in as the params then? Well, hell. Okay, and what is params? Object. Enable gold cost. True. False. Looks fine to me. Why is it giving us holy hell when we try to get into it? Oh, hell. Not enabled, but enable. And I can't change it over there. Gotta change it over here. Well, there's a problem. Oh, that was from the Photoshop. Okay, let's see what we got. Yep, that's right, we gotta fix that. Is it? I think it's, I'll have to submit the next one. Yeah. Perfect, now it's working. Cool. So good, that works. Now, what we need to do is to move this around some more. So, let's go down to the face stuff for status. Or up, I guess. No. Too far. Where the hell are you? Ah. So draw name, draw class. So I'm gonna check this out entirely. I think we just change this one to this one. See what this does. Well, kind of, sort of. Command window's in the wrong place. So, command window. X is class with Y is 0. Y should be something else. So recommend height plus X plus 3. Oh, we're redefining these. So we're overriding the scope of these local variables of these consts, and then by doing so, these are staying defaulted to 0 and getting passed that way instead of being updated and passed as what these are. Gotcha. Okay. So if we do this, we should, in theory, have it working. Ah, there we go. So, now that we have this done, we need to pull this window up a bit. So back up here, underneath stat wind. let's see what we get this. That's pretty close, to be honest. And you got a nice size window here that can fit. They can fit class change, cost, gold, and then item. Item name and the number of them that required. So, create a new window now. So we need to first we need to go up here, though I should probably bring these down with the other window stuff. Window which will display item and or gold cost for initially said if the what do we call it? Cost mode enabled. This dot create cost window. Something. Height. Okay, so Y. So the Y has to be between. Has to be after the status window. So, this underscore stat when dot get height. list underscore so the same width and for height. So height is interesting. So we have to say okay. Stat window plus requirements window plus command window minus graphics box height, and that will get us the remainder of this empty space here in the middle. So graphics. Next we want to this dot underscore so when Y, or actually X. Make sure it stays hidden at the beginning until we need it. That's what that line does there behind. Let's short cost when Alright. So go through. that's what I thought. Alright, so we need to do a prototype on the constructor. Object is it's going to be a window selectable, I guess. Constructor. Now we need to initialize window. Well, we're gonna need to call window selectable. Pro. Let's call the other name. I think we'll just call it. Okay. You need a X, Y, W, H. Because you probably do need a Y. No, I was using initialized call. Okay. so let's just set up what we need. This to underscore. G cost. Just to underscore. So we have those. We also need the class list. What else do we need? Stay with that for now. Next we need to go window. Should be 3 C's. Calculate G cost. Alright, so don't have to worry about differentiating between the well. Yes and no. So we have a bare cost equals eval. Pretty sure it's eval. The formula. We're back to pigeon soup again. It's gone okay for a while now. My brain's starting to mush again. So what I'll do is, let's go ahead and put a pin in this, and I'm going to show you what I've gotten done with the mod tool for Odyssean Void. So for those of you that don't know, Odyssean Void is a game that I am working on. It's going to be a 4X space sim kind of game. Will run as a text-based game and then also in Unreal Engine 4 eventually. Basically, it's going to be what I'm trying to aim for is something like Eve, but not online, or maybe something like Eve with some online components, but with more stuff. So like, there'll be different genres. For example, there'll be different types of battle. You'll have your regular RTS battles. You have FPS missions to take over a planet. You'll have kind of like hero action kind of ones, like some of the missions from StarCraft where you're controlling hero characters who have abilities and things like that. You'll have something more akin to maybe gratuitous space battles or Battlestar Galactica Deadlock without the added controls. Where you have your units, you put them into different formations, and then set up some kind of rules for them, how they engage enemies and how they move around, and then you fight with the other fleet, and based on your settings and your fleet strength, you end up, that determines who wins or loses. That kind of thing. There'll also be ship-to-ship battle, like in Eve, either single ship combat or multi-ship combat. At a certain point, though, it'll throw you into a RTS kind of battle. So there's just a lot of interesting stuff I'm planning to do with it. But one thing I wanted to do with it is make it as easy as possible to mod, so that modders can just not need to have any kind of weird coding experience, know how to do weird things with like a database to make things load properly or something. Just make some way, tool some kind that they can use to modify or add new stuff to the database. And that's pretty much what I have right now. So I'll go ahead and show it to you. It will be in the developer's vlog as well that we'll have in January, but might as well do something with this live stream. Which one do we want? I think it's this one. Alright, we'll go ahead and start it. So you get a splash screen here. It kind of tells you some of the stuff about it, features and whatnot. So here's what the main tool looks like. Not too fancy right now, but it works. So this is the first part, which is the query browser. So what you do is you go up here to load SQLite file, load database. The settings for these you can set in preferences, but I haven't actually made the modal screen for that yet. You have a list of tables here, and then from that you have a list of fields from that table. That you can then reference when you're making something. So let's say that we want to get the name, description, and X cost, or N cost for weapons. Now let's go ships. And let's say that we only want ships where the class or subclass equals frigate or subclass. Let's do the subclass in frigate, cruiser, or battle cruiser. So we didn't get anything because reasons, apparently. Let me jump to... I think that's what I want. Yeah, there we go. I'm sure to be loaded in here, so I'm going to take a look at this ship database and see what we got there in terms of data. Ships. Okay, so it's class, not subclass. Change this to class then. So now we have the name of the, and then we'll say also, and where name does not equal null. All right. So now we have all of our frigate cruiser and battle cruiser ships, their descriptions, and their Zarn cost. And this is like just for looking up stuff. That's all this does. Now let's say you want to do something a little more advanced. Let's say you want to do some joining, which is where this comes in. So this is an advanced query browser tab, as it indicates. Allows you to join on tables to create complex queries to find different kinds of data. So, for example, let's say that you want to find in one table, so you can have all the information, the resource, the reprocessing information for each resource. So what we would do is we'd say, okay, what do we want to take out of this table? Well, let's say we want the name, obviously. We won't do the description because it's huge and annoying. So we want the name, the type, name, the stage and tier, and base size. And I guess X cost as well from this table. And then from this table, we want to have the last four here. Reprocess units, resource produced, resource cost, and resource production loss. So what we do is we select those two tables from over here. So we load all of our fields over here. Makes it easier to work with. So resources, and then reprocessing. So we want to select, so we're going to say t1.name. T2 or T1 dot G2 T1 dot stage T1 dot tier T1 dot base size and T1 dot X cost. Then we want to say T2 reprocess units. I tried around with like having you be able to like click on them to add them to the whatever thing is currently active or something, but I couldn't get it to work properly, so I had to scrap that idea. So basically we just select one of your fields over here, double click on it, and it would add to whatever except be a bool or something when these would become active that we set, and then it'd be like say something like or maybe not a bool but maybe a string. Let's say last field active, and then would have one of these three fields, and when you double clicked on it, it was supposed to add something to that field, but like I said, it never got it to work properly. So res cost produced, then T2 dot res production loss. Now we want to say from resources as T1. They want to say join conditions. So inner join T1. Alright, so inner join on T from inner join on. Alright, okay, so inner join on no, on is damn. Inner join table T2. Okay, so on is the condition keyword. So inner join T2, which will be reprocessing as T2 on. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out. This only works with tables that are relational. So in other words, tables that have a foreign key in it that's a primary key in another table that you can use to compare against. So in this case, we have in resource the ID field, and in reprocessing we have RID, which is resource ID. So what we can say is where T1.ID equals T2.RID. Now if we run this query, we now have a condition where type equals or. So that should be T1.type. Really? What's going on? Resources, type or. Oh, I think it has to be up here. I think. Do not quote me on that because I have no clue. T1.type. So ID and T1, which is resources, equals T2.RD. I'm missing something here. Resources as T1, inner join, reprocessing. As T2 on T1 ID equals T2 RD. There we go. I had to use the right thing. It's not RID, it's OID. I'm not sure what RID. I think RID is for something else. But anyway, so we now have all of our ores. We have our the size of the ore. We have the stage, the tier, the base size, the cost per unit of that ore, processing units, resources produced. Oh, RID. Okay, RID is the field that determines the name of the resource for that particular or sample or object. We got reprocessing units, resources produced, the cost to produce them, and what's lost during production, and then the type. So that's the more advanced query browser tab. Good for dealing with things like cross-reference tables for like effects and things like that. The other one we have now is the database editor. So this is just full-fledged database editor. So select a work mode. We're going to say record creation. And we're going to go to something that doesn't have anything yet. Let's say say hulls. So we don't have any information here at all. You can just leave the ID blank because it doesn't matter. So now we're going to say basic hull. Description, put in say hull, basic hull design. So class is obviously a hull, so tech level 1, power requirement 0, CPU 0, power rate 0, power consumption 0, repair amount, repair delay, durability 200, C2 1.2, X costs, and we'll just leave it at that. Next, save data. Get rid of my breakpoint. And now we have this down here. Now if I go to the database, look at the hulls table, you'll see this is in the hulls table. Hulls. Now we have our basic hulls. Now let's say that we want to change what that says. So let's flip over to record editing mode and then reselect hulls to switch it over. So let me select one other one real quick here. So you can change what's showing here by just selecting a different row down here. So this will load the data into for you to edit, and then you can edit it and save the data, and it will overwrite it. So back to our hull example. Where are you, hulls? So let's go back to hulls. Oops. And let's change the durability to 3060. The cost to 600. And the draconic cost to 200. We'll add that to the add these here just so we know that there's been a change. Save it. Now if we go back to the database again, you can see our changes are here. So this is the tool that we'll be creating and releasing for modding. Futurecast is something I haven't even started working on yet. So Futurecast is interesting. It's going to be a tab that has the ability to say, okay, you made these changes, and you want to be able to test those changes without actually having to go into the game, because sometimes changes take a lot of playtesting to figure out if they work or not. So what this will do is it'll give you some kind of simple kind of baseline tests or something for things that might normally be changed, like say leveling curves or something like that, weapon damage and things like that, ship health, what have you. So you can come into here, select some information like what you want to test, what records to use, and all that stuff, and then you hit a button and it'll basically go through and test, like in the case of like ship strength and whatnot. It'll go through a mock battle in the background and then spit out information at you saying, okay, based on this configuration, a ship of this level or something like that, an NPC ship of this level, will do this much damage to you, will destroy you, won't destroy you, you'll destroy them, what have you. It's a way to check your changes and see what their impact on the game will be, and at least some of the things you can change, see what their impact will be on the game without actually having to go in and play test within the game. That way you go in here, you check it, and you say, okay, my ship completely owned this other ship, and before it was the other way around, so I overpowered my ship, so I have to go back and change something. So you just go back over to your editor tab, select the ship you were changing, change it again, go back to Futurecast, check it again. So hopefully this will be very useful to modders, so they don't have to keep on going. Don't have to keep playing and playing and playing just to test their mods and things. That's it. This is what I wanted to show you. It's pretty much 70% done. I think just the future cast system is left, and then maybe adding in some other stuff here or there. Don't really have anything to show you for Odyssey Void proper because I'm chasing down problems from the last mass settings update of 2017, where I literally redid pretty much the entire settings table. I just took things and changed them around because of a new way of handling data in the game that I created, so that I could take a range, which normally would take two records in the database, merge them into one record, and then just throw the information to a utility function that will then split it and then convert the two range values into the values that we need, throw them into a range object, and send it back to me to the place where it's called from. Really helps to cut down on the code used in the settings class, whole namespace, and also cuts down on the amount of records used in the settings table. But because of that, there are now been 1,000,000,001 problems because there are some settings aren't loading correctly, probably because the names aren't right. The main problem I've been seeing though is that the somehow the types have changed in between the two different versions of version 5. And now in this newer version, a lot of stuff is not properly typed anymore, and so when it goes into the converter fails to convert the things to the cast the things to the proper types, and we get null objects back, which causes crashes and things because there's nothing there to compare against or to use. So don't have anything really for that. But we'll try this again tomorrow, the whole RMV plugin upgrade thing, because hopefully after some sleep my brain will stop trying to commit suicide or something. But thanks for watching the stream. If you're watching it on After the Fact on YouTube, comments, questions, leave them below. Appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.